legacy. So legacy, this word actually has been raised in the 1960s, but only when the Olympic Games become bigger, and now more sports men and women come to play in the game, and it has enormous medium attention, and that also leads to enormous impact towards the whole city, especially with mass investment, cost, and the massive use of resources and the human capitals. So in London, this is really for the first time the legacy has become really the new theme. And legacy, there are probably many different ways to explain it, but basically the IOC's hope after hosting an Olympic game, the whole city will not be burdened with a white elephant. White elephant has been, this is the word that describes of this giant Olympic stadium after the 16 days of Olympic Games, or maybe the Olympic Games, another probably 16 days, then it's become abandoned and without any use. So IOC hope that in the future, not only Olympic Games have a big impact to the city, to the host country, but also has a positive impact on the sustainable development of the city. So that is basically new focus, and that's also the reason why environment issue become quite an important issue in this new trend. Go further to talk a little about the different trend of the legacy. The first is the impact. So especially if you look at it, a colleague of mine has done some research on Olympic and especially the hosting nations, hosting cities. He said when a country has an average per capita $5,000, is the first time a host country or the host city think of hosting an Olympic game. So if you look at the trend, you will see in the last 100 years almost, Olympic hosted cities have been almost all dominated by cities from the developed country. If you look at all this. Until there are few moments. In 1988, South Korea has been given the host right, which is for them is one of the first time to really a coming out party for the whole nation. So really a pride, for national pride and for the brand of the whole nation. And going on, Beijing is the first city from a developing country that hosted the Olympic game. And very intensively, immediately after London, which is one of the three global cities, very rich and prosperity city, Rio from Brazil is also given this opportunity. I think one of the implications I can read from the message is IOC would like to have big impact, not only towards a mass population within the developing city, but also towards its country. So I think the impact given to this kind of metropolitan will be enormous if they are given this opportunity. So, but it doesn't mean that it's very easy to organize Olympic Games. So that's also the threshold of this $5,000 per person is very essential. So if you look at it, you can also see another trend. The investment structure for Olympic cities. And in this case, you will see the city that has a lot of investment during the Olympic preparation are the cities who are in need of development. Thinking about Barcelona, that's a South European city at the time was struggling with economic recession. So that was the time you can see the infrastructure development or infrastructure investment has been essential in the whole plan and in the whole financial structure. And the same goes to Beijing, which actually goes to the extreme. You can see that about 40, some say $30 billion, and about 70 to 75% 5% of the investment has gone to the infrastructure sector. So that's another trend. I think that's also give a quite clear message that Olympic Games, because preparing is under really a high pressure point. You need to finish the whole preparation at a certain moment. I think that's probably not only create a lot of pressure for the host cities, but also give them an opportunity or drive to develop the infrastructure sector, for example. Especially this sector is a sector you need to invest a lot. So, and finally it goes back to the legacy components that I have described. Although in many of the cases in the early years or the last several decades, hosting an Olympic game has always had its importance in economic growth, economic benefits, local revenues, like especially the Olympics hosted in American cities, Los Angeles, Atlanta, and it became more and more important to focus on the spatial transformation, like in Barcelona, and to a certain extent for environment, like in Sydney. There is an increasing concern of social development as a consequence of Olympic preparation. But I think so far that this concern has been realized to a very small limited amount. So in the last 2 years when I worked with Chile and Mayola's Fund, we have worked quite much according to this logic. You have a motive for a city to host Olympics. It's not like every city who can and who wants. So you have a certain motivation. For example, you want to promote your city in the faster track, or you want to have economic benefit. So you create new economic engines, like in the service sector, like what Barcelona has also done, or the spatial environment goal that you use Olympic to regenerate the area, like what London is doing now, and the social goal. But there are a lot of urban strategies that you can explore, but not every city makes use of all kinds of strategies to really realize their goal. So in that case, you can see there are several strategies. For example, use Olympic to restructure the whole city, and for environment upgrading, and to, in a certain way to change new rules in order to adapt to a lot of environmental innovations in your system. And you can also count on economic restructuring, or in a way to increase the capacity of the local government. So the governance issue is quite important as well. And we also look at the result in terms of spatial, economic, and social impact in that sense. So this is a little more clear picture, just to see in the last 2 years when we go through all the different kinds of literature. We have collected a series of strategies, motivations, and effects we have found in this literature. It covers quite different host cities, not only one or two since 1992, but also before that and after 2000. So all included.